You know, I read something today that was real funny. Uh, Somebody wrote on, I think it was Twitter, they said, why do we have black people who were never slaves running around fighting white people who were never Nazis over statues that were designed and resurrected by Democrats? And I thought about that and I said, you know what? That doesn't make sense. But you know what? I come to the conclusion you can't make sense out of nonsense. When I think of the logic of some of the people who are out there protesting and fighting for causes that in the bigger scheme of things really don't even matter at this point. There's so many other bigger issues in our society that we should be focused on and dealing with instead of running around saying, you know what is going to justify me, I feel, as an African American, what's going to change my life and make my life better is to go over there and tear down that statue. See, that projects me into some type of societal stability. See, that's going to put money in my pockets by tearing that statue down. You know what? By tearing that statue down is going to decrease the violence in the inner cities of Chicago. By tearing that statue down, I'm going to do away with racism in America. Yeah, by tearing that statue down, it will deal with the fact that I don't have health care and millions of others don't either. By tearing that statue down, yeah, it's going to deal with the fact that the inner city schools are collapsing. Why don't people rush down into the inner city and protest about how dilapidated the schools are, how poor the education system is? Why don't people rush into the inner cities where violence is running rampant and say, you know what, let's protest against violence in our inner city where people are getting killed? Why don't they do that? I mean, you're running around saying, man, you know what? What's going to justify me and validate my blackness, validate all of the years of oppression is me tearing down a statue. If you look at that, that is classic distraction. That is the Liberal Party and the Democratic Party convincing a group of society that they can receive some type of gratification and redemption by tearing down a statue, by protesting whether the statue stays or it goes. Frankly, I don't even care. It's not going to make one difference in my life. And over a statue, now someone's dead. And all you are seeing now is it being politicized. All of this could have been avoided. Unfortunately, it wasn't, because people felt it was so important to go down there and say, man, y'all supporting this statue, and this statue represents a time that I didn't live in of history, where people were slaves and was oppressed. And it's so important to me that let's get into a big fight, and unfortunately it led to someone's death. And now, I'm not justifying going down there to fight with them, but I'm also not justifying the Nazis coming out to do what they do, but they've been doing that for a long time. And when you look at them, I know when I think about them, and I think about the skinheads, the KKK, the white supremacists, I totally throw them in the category of, man, forget them. They're not even real Americans, in my opinion. I'm going, man, that's a small group of folks, because only like 200 of them showed up down there. And when I think of them, I'm thinking of, yep, you know what? We're going to go down here. We're going to stand up for our rights. Why would I waste my time going all the way down there to make a point that is not going to benefit my life, the African American community, is not going to benefit my pockets, is not going to affect society as a whole? And frankly, if we would have ignored that small back hill alley group, they would have got no publicity. But no, people felt it was that important to run down there and say, I want national attention to show everybody that I'm upset with the fact that these people believe this statue should stay up because it represents racism. People have gotten so caught up in identity politics and so caught up in distractions that they are not even able to focus on the bigger stuff that matters. When I was a business consultant, had a client, had an excellent product, had them distribution and everything. They ran out of money, so I had to help secure some type of financing for them. got some people that was willing to invest, but the people wanted a percentage. So the company, the family would have kept 60%, people would have took 40%. But that wasn't good enough for them. Their mind was so small that they couldn't see the bigger picture. They were focused on the fact that, you mean tell me I got to give up 40% of my company, and but you're about to get millions of 60%. I don't care. I want control of my company. I said, okay, you're going to remain in control of the company. You're also going to have 60% of the company. And if this company blows up and makes millions, you would make millions of dollars off of 60%. That wasn't good enough for them. Their mind was so small. They were so focused on the fact that, oh man, I'm giving up 40% of my company. They would rather have 0% of 100%, nothing, or versus having millions of 60%. Yeah, that's how narrow their mind was. And when I look at what's going on with these groups and how the media and the Democrats are really driving this agenda as if this is the #1 epidemic in the United States, this real aggressive racist push, which they really drummed up during the election, and then trying to keep it going and fostering it. And some people even supporting some of the left-wing groups that are aggressively going, keeping this. I ain't talking about just this last weekend. I'm talking about since they lost the election, going everywhere, tearing up stuff, breaking stuff. And ain't nobody saying that. It's being supported for a reason. Yeah, they are distracting people with all of this stuff. Keep the people fat and full and medicated and drunk on stupid stuff, so they are not able to focus on stuff that's really going to impact their life. So go ahead, waste your time running all over America protesting whether statues stay up or get taken down, versus looking at bigger issues like economics, like healthcare, like national security, like the inner cities, like education. Yeah, I guess those things aren't more important than statues of old dead people who lived hundreds of years ago. It doesn't make sense. But you know what? I've tried to talk to a whole bunch of liberals and a whole bunch of African Americans, and I come to the conclusion that you just can't make sense out of nonsense. When I hear the rebuttals, nah, man, Donald Trump is racist, they done really pulled a fast one on a large group of people in our society with this one. Instead of being able to focus on what Donald Trump's policies are and what he's trying to do that will benefit you in your pockets, benefit the inner city, taking money, putting it back into the system, doing all of these things that will really benefit you, they got you running around focused on whether statues stay up or not. Don't make sense. But you know what? Can't make sense out of nonsense. So my new slogan.